is coming your way. The Playing Ducks is going to be going all the way to the mile here against Zealots as we get ready for it. So let's go ahead and jump into the battleground and figure out what our teams will do here to get their win. Oh, okay, Warhead Junction.
Okay, this is going to be an interesting one for sure. Globals are going to reign supreme here. Warhead Junction. This is a map that the Ducks have taken in the past against Fnatic and other teams because they wanted to have a shot here. Since it is a map that other teams don't really practice as much, they were one of the teams that came up with a strategy here and they said this works for us. And yeah, Warhead. It's going to be interesting.
There's a few strategies that have popped up in our tenure here at the HGC. There's always the Globals route. There's the Tassadar Tracer Genji route where you're trying to open up the map and try to float around often. There's also double boss plays.
Yeah, I heard that the Ducks prefer to go Vala first here and dominate the camps with an arrow build.
Honestly, I was under the impression or thinking that they would go straight into that first pick Vala because yes, you get that Monster Hunter, you can go for those double boss plays. Let's see if that will pop out here.
I mean, to an extent, I'm kidding, but at the same time, I actually
Are you kidding? Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time, I think it is going to be something they will aim for if they get the opportunity. Since they have a double pick, I can see Vala plus a global being taken by them here. For now, Zealots have first pick though. And, I mean, this has to be either the Haka or ETC.
For Zealots, yeah. Harmony kind of let me down in the last series. They're missing a lot of isolations, not getting the drags that he wanted. Obviously, it's a bit difficult to pull off, but if you're going to run that Haka, man, you got to make sure you land those.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a rough game for them. I would definitely pick ETC here. It's not only that ETC just fits the map and they have the ETC player on their side. I wouldn't really be willing to give it over to the Playing Ducks. They go for their Haka, so they really feel they need to prioritize Zamani's hero here. And I think there's a good chance that we're going to see Vala ETC for the Ducks. If it was any other team, I would say ETC plus maybe you go for Uther right away and try to get the combo with a potential Mosh Pit. Or you go for, I mean, there's a couple of other heroes that, okay, they go for Uther regardless, so they're actually willing to let Vala slide. I like it. I would say, I actually expected them to highly prioritize Vala again. I'm very happy with what they did though.
I am curious to see if the Zealots are going to move into the mass global strat that we see on this battleground. They do seem to favor Fnatic in some of their strats that we've seen in the past, so that would be a possible pickup for them. If that does come in, that would be here in the second and third rotation. Will we be seeing a Falsehood pickup and even possibly a Brightwing?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how they're going to adapt to this. This is not a map that we see a lot, and this is also the map that is being scrimmed the least. There's so many teams that ban out the map, they don't really want to give it too much of a priority. So I feel like a lot of teams are going to wing it here. I'm not quite sure to what an extent it really plays a role in the scrims of the Zealots. You occasionally see it, but it's again very, very rare that the map is being played at all. So Zealots take Vala away and Rhaegar. I think Vala here is as much as a deny pick as it is also an attempt to simply put Poik again into a position where he's supported by two supports. Wouldn't mind seeing Lucio again, to be honest with you.
Yeah, especially on this battleground, unless you rotate between maps pretty effectively. You could force fights, chase them down like we saw in the past. It does require another tank here, which they're going to need one, especially with their setup. Toronto will be banned out, Vikings also. Shad has shown Vikings play in the past, I think once here in the HGC, but more before the HGC. And Tyrande, obviously with the Ducks playing her earlier with their CC here, would be easy to get those stacks set up.
Zealot's idea is pretty obvious. With the ban on Tyrande, they are basically saying, okay, in those team fights, these sniper compositions that we've seen from you, we don't like that. You completely wrecked us, stacking the stuns and getting the kills. We are currently not in a position to properly deal with this. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. So them also picking Vala denies a strong hero to Chris. You can't really completely outban or outpick Chris, it doesn't work, but at the same time it's taking one of their biggest assets away from them. So Sonya is now taken, we have Genji as well, so it's already a strong setup for the Ducks for sure. But the Zealots, they have a global available to them, they can still go into Johanna play, for example, if they want to rely on the same hero again that Lauber already played on Infernal Shrines here. But at the same time, there's of course a few other options, and I'm still curious what Shad is going to take here. What's going to be the hero for him? Are we going to see Lucio again? Maybe even Medivh, depending. But the Lucio style, really, I thought it was pretty cool. But it was also an ETC and Arthur as the front line, and this time you don't have that.
I'm curious to see what Lauber's going to play with ETC being taken away. Granted, we saw him on the Johanna, but Johanna suffers a little bit on this battleground with your lack of mobility. But if you do set up around a boss, you can have control there, so it will require Zealots as a unit to fight as a 5-man. I'm kind of curious as well here. Let's find out what they're going to pick up.
I mean, I don't mind Johanna in the slightest. It's just like, who else is really going to have a massive mobility as a tank here? You can go for...
Nubarak?
Nubarak, maybe. Muradin for jumps. Okay, so they go... I like Lucio. This is, for me, the key part was really Lucio. I like that we have Shad on the hero again, and Muradin now for stun. So, okay. Still thinking of if I would have liked Johanna more on their end. But overall with Muradin, I mean, you get a lot out of him. First of all, he's very difficult to kill for the opponent. That's number one. And also you have some escape, as you already said. But what's going to be the last hero here for the Ducks? It's their map pick, so...
It's got to be Green Mane or Liming, right? No, they go to Gul'dan.
I was actually thinking about Liming as well. Especially with the stuns that you have. Liming might have been good. Then again, with Gul'dan, you can really... It's all about the Horrify.
Yeah.
Like, of course, Gul'dan has a lot more damage output than only Horrify. It's not really that one-trick pony that can't do anything else, but it's definitely the strongest tool in his kit that he can use to destroy a team fight. So with a good Horrify by Chris, they can definitely win it here. And, I mean, this is the map that really counts. Once more, if the Ducks lose, then they're basically in the Crucible. Not 100%, there's still a fringe outlier scenario in which Team Liquid could still drop into the Crucible. Sorry, Tricked Esports could still drop into the Crucible, my bad. But if the Ducks actually win this, then they have taken a very important step to potentially make it out of it, because then these will still, with 3 other teams, with Zealots, Tricked, and Team Liquid, battle over who drops into that Crucible slot. That one is confirmed. TGG will be in the Crucible, but remaining slot, if the Ducks take it here, there's still a chance for them to move out of it.
A monumental moment here for the Playing Ducks. Can they take this victory over the Zealots, who are looking for a sigh of relief if they get this win? Let's go ahead and move into it. Game number 5, Warhead Junction. It all comes down to this between these two teams.
Last game. Game number 5. We're on Warhead Junction with Grand Pakete for the Zealots. On Rega, Lauba, the sub-player today on Muradin. Poik on, once again, Vala with Zarmony on the Haka, and Shad finds himself for the 2nd time in this series on Lucio.
On the right side, in the red, Wolf Joe will be playing the Uther. Nande will be your Genji player. Chris on Gul'dan. Sport Billy playing ETC, and Ethernal playing Sonya.
Now, if you tune into this series a bit later and you're surprised that we have Lauba currently playing on the side of the Zealots, the reason he's subbing in today is that Mopsy was banned for this weekend because of unprofessional or professional misconduct, and therefore they needed a sub-player. Lauba is the main tank for the rank 1 Open Division team, the leftovers that we currently have in Europe. And he has done a pretty good job so far to help the Zealots out, but they find themselves still on this 5th map, and now everything, of course, hinges on the performance here on Warhead Junction.
Yeah, both teams have had surprises, with Sport Billy showing on the tank role today, and then we have Nande flexing on the side for the Ducks. It's been working out as they have pushed their limits, and Sport Billy has been making a case here for him to be on that warrior role, as he's created so many opportunities for his team and has helped get them to this game number 5.
Sport Billy is, I don't know. To me personally, he's just one of those phenomena where he always shifts into the role where he's needed. I mean, in the past, he played supports, for example, as well. And I said, it's not really a role where I feel super comfortable, but if my team needs me to play that, then I will do that. So he is going to take a bullet for the team and will play the role that they require him to play. This, on the other hand, is again a map that the Playing Ducks have actually chosen. It's a map that's not really played by a lot of teams. In this case, it was not banned out by either one of the 2 teams. And that now means that the Ducks might have a couple of rotations here, maybe towards bosses or nukes that they could use to get an advantage over the Zealots.
Now, really quickly here, looking at the level 1 talent pickup from Muradin, it's going to be 3rd win, which does indicate that he is intending to take a lot of damage on that front line, but also to be a bit on the self-sustained side. Also, with this battleground being a bit bigger on the map, when you rotate between lanes, you're going to be able to build up that health when you go in for a gank. So Labra switching it up here for 1, this battleground, and 2, on the playstyle he's intending to play on this Muradin. He will take a lot of damage, he'll come out of a fight, heal up, and head back in.
Especially, of course, with Lucio. And the speed is going to help them again. So now that we have the first warheads being deployed, 2 are available on the map, and let's see who's going to pick up the first 2. The global on the side. It's actually interesting that the only global is available for the Zealots. Yes, the Ducks have ETC, but still, him going into stage dive would be interesting considering that he is the main tank for the team, and also Uther is available with a Divine Shield that would heavily accent that mosh pit.
We'll see if he'll move into it here. As the bottom lane is grabbed by Zealots, they're able to grab the nuke. And they dance around for a little bit with Wolfjo floating on the front side. It's a bit hard for Rhaegar to drop off that nuke. Doesn't really need to do it right away either. Typically, when you do have the nukes grab on this battleground, you're going to be looking towards the top lane or the bottom lane. You want to open up the map for those bosses so you can push in and work for key plays. Power slide in, goes in for Zarmany, and he holds on to his burrow just in time to stay alive.
That was a really interesting drag. Moving into the nuke to get the drag, and I'm just like, okay, bro. So yeah, gets the quick burrow there in the last second. I mean, of course, he's holding the cooldown back, but still, that was not quite what I expected. Eternal, by the way, taking a lot of damage here and actually needs to head back. So Zarmany will be able to hold on up to the top 4, at least for now. But with Sport, Billy, and Sonya pushing in the entire time, there's a lot of pressure on his side. And so far, the bot lane hasn't really gotten the same amount of value just yet.
Not yet, but they are moving in with the Hellbats. Remember that nuke is still here, can be dropped down, and they do have a Muradin/Genji above them. The Zealots are looking to help contest this area. Grandpa having a very hard time dropping off this nuke with the poke coming in from Gul'dan, and Wolfjo always ready for that stun.
Yeah, the entire time we just have Uther ready and just saying, okay, if you try to drop the nuke, if you start the channel, I'm gonna be stunning you. And in the meantime, Rhaegar is moving into the middle. But as we said before, this is not quite where you want to drop the nuke. It's usually the side lanes where you see it attempted.
Rhaegar drops it in there. Just getting some damage in. Looking to get a turret as well. Can it also work on these minions in the middle, get the experience. When you go for this play, it's because you're wanting to get a little bit more experience, and you're going to be moving into the mid to late game a little bit more.
The main thing that you want to take down with the nuke is the fountain, at least with the first one. So usually just aim it in the middle so you hit everything. And then you get damage against the towers, and you take the fountain out, so that takes the sustain away. Lauba in a bit of trouble, but as long as there's no extra stun available, he shouldn't really have too much trouble. And his third wind on level 1 is, of course, going to help him to easily survive here, as it's going to kick in pretty soon. We see him on level 7 with Skullcracker as well, so it's that mini interrupt. And oh, there's a bit of a camp invade, but it looks like the Zealots are going to be ready for this, or are they?
Yeah, the Playing Ducks realize that Rhaegar have been missing for some time, and you can only assume that he's going to do mercenary camps for their team, and they go in for an engage. Zarmany here does hit a Dragon Sport Billy, power slides out. Zealots will be able to grab the mercenary camp, and they fight back. No kills for either team.
Oh, it's a close call, though. Sport Billy nearly dying on ETC and barely moving out in time, but the camp was stolen by the Zealots, or not stolen by the Playing Ducks, depending on how you look at it.
Well, 4 nukes will spawn in 2 seconds for our teams. 1 on the top, 1 in the middle, and 2 at the very bottom. Zealots sending a few members down there. Remember, they will have Dahaka that can rotate in and help fight, so Playing Ducks will have to figure out how they want to choose their battles as they move into this next phase. And they are already losing 1 nuke, a second one being grabbed, and they decide to go ahead and contest the middle.
Yeah, in the middle. Okay, the channel is through for Wolfjo, so it's 2 nukes on each side now. And we see an attempt at the bot lane to get the nukes in play. First one already dropped, and Chris has to move out. It's going to drop the well here, the fountain, exactly like we said earlier. It's one of the main targets in these plays. And they are trying to push through. At the top lane, the camp is still pushing against Sonya, so that keeps her on her toes with Dahaka, adding a bit more pressure even.
Wolfjo comes in for the stun, stops Poik. Nande is here to put damage on him. Shad's trying to boost him away from the fight. Can they get out in time? Yes, they do. Also hold on the nuke. Now, why did the Playing Ducks not set up on the bottom and try to contest the 2 nukes that were down there? The it factor is the Dahaka. Dahaka has a lot of wiggle room in that area, multiple bushes to come in from, so they decided to play safer and contest the middle lane where they knew if Dahaka did come in, they'd be able to control.
Body blocks here by Lauba. There's the drag, and that could be the end of ETC, and it is. Good kill in the mid lane, and the bottom is being pressured at the same time. That's going to be a fort in favor of the Zealots, which should result in the early level 10, and indeed it does. Good plays here by the Zealots. Need to be careful at the top lane, but that was a very good drag in the middle. And a great kill here with good body blocks coming from the sub player.
Now, are the Zealots going to make a play for a boss? Typically, you see that if they get an advantage. With 3 people in the middle lane and Sonya still on the top side, Dahaka can come in, and yes, the Zealots are making the play. They move in, for the boss. Playing Ducks are working on getting 10, and also as soon as they do so, they'll be able to grab the other boss. This is a play that is very typical, so they know they can make the counterplay by heading to the top.
Yeah, the top is immediately taken here, and that is going to hit quite a bit later, though. The Haka is still there. Now, the main question is, what are the Zealots going to do? Because they have a little bit of a time frame that they could use here. The first thing that they attempt to do is make sure that the boss can simply move on through this without being annoyed by those minions and helping to increase the power of the push a little bit. Eventually, it's going to result in the defense. The big problem for the Ducks is that they have to actually move back for sure, because at the top lane, there is still a fort available that doesn't have any ammunition left, but it's going to slow this entire approach down and going to make it easier for the Haka to clear the boss up.
Zarmany will set up for defense on the top side with multiple people backing up. The Playing Ducks are going to be forced to defend the middle lane. Zealots let the boss go down the bottom side, and they'll work on the fort here. Get it kind of low, but not doing anything too crazy in terms of actually finishing it off. Sonya actually joins in on the party, as the Ducks seem like they're looking for a fight.
Yeah, and overall, the value that they got out of the boss is definitely a bit more on the side of the Zealots. It didn't really translate into much experience yet, but the fort in the mid lane is now so low that they can take it later on quite easily. They haven't taken too much damage on their own wall towards the keep yet. Also quite important to know, there comes the engage, or at least the attempt. So far, Shat, by the way, has done a pretty fantastic job on oh my god, the Haka. Wow, that was a quick one. Sport Billy, thankfully for the Zealots, unfortunate for the Ducks, does not properly hit the mosh pit here. That could have turned quickly. That was a quick kill against the Haka.
That was still an amazing turnaround from the Ducks. They were ready for that engage. The moment the Haka was spotted, everyone turned around, applied some damage, and Zarmany just fell. And now, with 2 nukes, 3 nukes now, the Playing Ducks have a big play available to them. They can move in, break down the keep on the top lane if they find an angle. They can work on the fort in the bottom left side. They have a lot of firepower on their arsenal.
They have 4 nukes now. They can snipe anything. This is pretty rough for the Zealots. They're really losing out on the objective, and it doesn't matter if you use those nukes during a team fight or simply to burst down a structure. This is going to be rough times for the Zealots. That last loss of the Haka and the resulting objective taken was definitely a big issue. So it's going to be an interesting team fight that's coming up next. There's 13 talents already for both of the teams, and that means that we're now seeing the completed arrow build for Vala. By the way, when it comes to the stacking process for her, we are seeing only 35 extra damage. So that's 7 hits out of 20 that you need to complete your quest talent.
Bit behind of finishing it off. Normally you see that getting completed around the 13 to 14 minute mark, and not even halfway there does hurt Boyk. See if we'll be able to pop those out when he gets into a fight. Zealots hoping to mitigate pushes on the bottom side by grabbing the Hellbats and looking towards the middle with their Vala, but the Playing Ducks are charging down to the top lane. 4 nukes are armed. They're pushing in. They have ETC in the front line. Zarmy's on the right side, and they'll get 2 off easily.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they didn't rotate top earlier. That was pretty much telegraphed. At this point, they're going in again. Zarmany already hitting the panic button here, going for the burrow. Expects a quick burst again. Doesn't quite happen. Lauba with the hits. Of course, it helps him against Sonya when she starts whirlwinding that he has taken that level 7 interrupt. But right now, good, pretty good move back from the Playing Ducks. So they're on the retreat. Maybe a Stormbolt here at some point from Lauba. Nice drag. And immediately the Horrify saving Sonya for now, but that's another cooldown used.
Nande with the Dragon Blade slashes, doesn't get much. Tries to buy time for his team, and the Playing Ducks will scurry away, still having 2 nukes on them. The Zealots walk away pretty healthy and feeling pretty good about that engage, but want more. Lauber is hunting down his opponents. Nande jumps over the wall and is just fine.
Okay, so they're pushing Sport Billy back. They make a quick rotation into the middle and put some extra damage onto the fort. They should get this one soon. If they just poke from a distance, there's a good chance that they're going to get it right now. The problem is their top keep is really low, and Genji is actually sneaking around the minion waves and making his way over. He's trying to backdoor it.
Yeah, he has a nuke. He'll be able to drop it down there and finish it off with shurikens if need be. ETC is in the middle. I was going to see if Playing Ducks were going to try and chase this, but they're not going to do so. Nande drops the nuke, going to back on home, and that is going to be a keep.
Yep, first keep down in the game, and a big lead for the Playing Ducks therefore. The top lane is going to be pushing the entire match now. The Haka can, of course, de-push, but that is going to put a bit of a stop on that lane, so well done by the Ducks. Good use of that. Eternal with the interrupt against Chad. And in the meantime, the Haka is holding the bot lane, and Rhaegar is claiming a warhead towards the left side.
Zealots need to win a fight here and also get nukes. Lobber's dancing around. He has Stormbolt. He hits Chris. Tahaka is coming around the right. Is flanking from the long side. Has not used Brush Stalker. He'll find a Chris. Isolation does connect.
Isolation connects. The spear does not, and they're getting the drag against ETC. They need to be careful of the mosh pit at the same time. One Stormbolt hits. There's the Divine Shield. It's party time. They are dancing. Two of them are caught, and that's the end of Muradin. Well done. Good Divine Shield on Sport Billy, and then immediately the mosh pit following through.
The heal's coming out from Wolf Joe. Playing Duck still dancing around. Zealots feeling like they can fight this. Do get the Drain Life to come out. Shad is dancing on the side when Nade chases him down. The Dragon Blade gets procced. They're looking to get a kill here on Lucio, but Shad boosts the team out.
Yeah, Nanda also with the Dragon Blade, not getting too much, but they still will get that nuke, and that's important. There's another one up to the top. But they still have to defend. There's a massive wave, actually, that is starting to make its way towards the core. Still a bit away, but that's 2 catapults already, and that is going to hurt eventually. Also, another nuke for the Ducks. At some point, you have to be worried that they can backdoor.
Murden is back. Bottom side, the boss has actually been started by Vala. They're working on the boss.
Did I just say backdoor?
They're going for the back door. 2 nukes. Everyone's pushing in. The Playing Ducks putting Game 5 on the line and going straight for the core.
Yep, they go straight for the core, and with 3 nukes, I mean, why wouldn't you? At this point, this is looking bad. Quite bad at that. Down to already 10%, and the Ducks, they snipe it, and down go the Zealots. The Ducks take it with a 3-2 victory over Team Zealots. Quite impressive here, and they definitely know how to play Warhead Junction.
Yeah, not quite explosive in team fights, but explosive with nukes there. They get the core taken out really quickly, and the Playing Ducks get a 3-2 over the Zealots. Feeling great about that one. Gotta really call out Sport Billy, man. Coming in on the Warrior role and killing it today.
Yeah, Sport Billy definitely playing a huge role. And but again, that call, I don't quite get it. I mean, Captain Obvious once, I don't know. You see the massive wave coming in, you have to send the Haka in. And even if you are, especially when you don't have vision, you know your opponent has 3 nukes. What do you think is going to happen? That call for boss was so risky, and I don't think they had to make that play yet. Yes, they were behind, but they were not behind to an extent where I say you have to go for a YOLO move where you risk everything right away. So it was a rough game, fighting against Horrify, fighting against the Mosh Pit, and also the Divine Shield that covered it every single time. But that was a telegraphed move with the backdoor, and they should have had at least someone ready to interrupt.
Yeah, I think the boss could have been a little bit earlier if they were going to go for that call. You could see them dancing, actually, on the minimap, trying to figure out what they wanted to do. Dahak was floating around the middle. They saw Sony go straight to the top side. That boss, a few seconds earlier, maybe does complete. And if Murden runs to the top left and scouts that coming in, they would have been fine. But I agree, it felt a little awkward towards the end.
I think they expected them to take boss instead. They maybe thought that they were taking the boss at the top lane, so they didn't want to delay too long because they said, okay, if they take boss top, then we have to take this one. But after the fight, after they lost Muradin, I feel it would have been better to send Dehaka to the top so that you can defend the wave and stop it, and he can still burrow into the fight if need be, if there is actually a fight at the boss.
Well, the Playing Ducks are here with their support player, Wolf Joe. Wolf Joe, thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your victory. That was a close one.
Yeah, feels good, man.
Tell me about this role swap that's happening within your team. We see Sport Billy playing on the Warrior role and Nande's playing a little bit more flex-based. What triggered that, and how did it come to be?
Billy on Monday was like, Nanda, are you okay if we role swap? I want to try this. I want to play more aggressive. And we tried it whole weekend. It worked well. And so we just go for it and prepared for Crucible already. So it's like, this was what will we do in Crucible.
So this is what you're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks?
Yes.
Awesome. Well,
you are aware that you are not in the Crucible yet, right? That especially that with this loss, there is currently 3 teams you could potentially beat down.
But we also need to beat Fnatic, and that's a tough one, especially if they don't take it lightly, like they said in the phase 1. Like they don't want to mix up the standings, so I expect Fnatic to show their best. So we are not counting on a win here.
You need to beat Fnatic if every other team that you could potentially tie with wins all of their games. So there is still a chance. I mean, you are right. At this point, you have to hope that another team, that either you win against Fnatic or another team loses a series as well. But you have still a couple of really important ones, especially the one against Tricked is going to help you quite a bit.
Yeah, but we always performed decent and or better than Tricked, and they always had some struggle with us, as I said last time in the interview. So I guess we can pull off a good performance, and they look kind of shaky today as well.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's admirable that you guys are saying, hey, we are basically the Crucible already, but we're still going to give everything to prepare for it. But with that victory right now, if you perform well this weekend, one of your opponents screws up, you still have a chance of moving out of it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
saying.
but like you need to prepare for the worst, and it's better to prepare early and not like and make the change right now, so we have more time and scrim the other guys, because other teams might take a break when like the regular season's over and they're not in the playoffs or qualified for BlazCon, so it's best to do it now.
No, I mean, that's actually a really good point that you make with the break. And I also think that that role swap, so far at least, seems to be pretty good. I mean, considering that is only a week of practice, how do you guys feel with it here today? Do you think that's the way to go forward? Do you think there's still a couple of kinks to work out? Has it also to do with shot calling itself, that it makes it easier for Sport Billy to make calls in the tank role? Or what's the thought process behind it?
Yeah, like you can make more greedy or less standard shot calls, where it's like give up this wave or that, or like trust me, go on here. And it's like if you're the tank, you're the first to arrive to the action. So of course it's easier for him. And if he's not splitting with something with Falstad, he's always with the team and making the aggressive calls. So yeah, of course.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
Wolf Joe, do me a favor. Don't count yourself out yet. You still have some matches coming your way, man. I want to see some positivity there. Your next match is actually going to be against Tricked Esports, which will be happening tomorrow. So are you guys ready for the matchup, even though you're already thinking about the Fnatic a week later?
We're ready for tomorrow. Like always prepare for the next one. And Fnatic is like, maybe you can beat them, but we will prepare next week and we try to prepare something special, because it's Fnatic after all. You cannot go standard on them, I think, and that's what we will focus on for now.
All right, well, we look forward to the match. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. That way you can prepare, get some sleep, and be ready for it tomorrow. But before I let you go, any shout-outs from the Playing Ducks?
Shout out for everybody who cheered for us, who kept believing in us, even though we are kind of not like we're already counting us on Crucible, and thanks to Playing Ducks and Be Quiet. So thanks everybody.
Awesome. Congratulations to the Playing Ducks as they get a big victory today over the Zealots. A close series. We went to game number 5, but what do you think about the sub for the Zealots? How did you perform today?
I think Lauber did actually really well for them, and considering how close some of the games were, I feel... I think in some... The Tomb game is really what comes back to me, because I think on the Tomb game, there were so many situations in where they could have had a decisive advantage, or later on when they were behind, easily come back into it. But I think they just misplayed the composition overall a bit. The comp maybe struggled against what they were up to, but that's the game that was, for me, the biggest question mark. Because Warhead Junction... That one I get. It's a map that very few teams play. Most teams ban it out, and oftentimes if you don't ban it, you just simply assume that your opponent is either not going to play it or is going to ban it. Then again, if you did your research, you know that the Ducks played it in the past, and as you can see, they're just comfortable on such a map. So, but I can understand why on this map you make a wrong call and then it doesn't work out your way, especially if you play with a new player with which you don't have the same level of experience and synergy.
Yeah.
The Tomb game is really, for me, the one where I say, they could have taken either a win or they could have made a bit of a better statement. At the same time, the Ducks showed up. They really played. They had, in the first game, they struggled, but after that, they did really well. And with Sport Billy, that change in roles is something that they probably just need to smooth out a little bit. There's a couple of kinks here and there, but overall, I feel they are very aggressive with it, and it looked really good, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's solid. I was just surprised that he just said flat out, we are already in the Crucible.
Yeah, they just seem to be defeated already before even going into it.
Don't get me wrong, they are in not really great spot or anything, but for one of their opponents to lose a match, like we have seen crazy things happen. The Ducks won against Fnatic the last time. That doesn't mean that they necessarily beat Fnatic again, but TGG, for example, goes up against the Zealots. That's a match TGG can win. So that can happen. And there's a few other situations with Team Liquid even. This win, and if they now win against Tricked, if they can make that happen, the victory against Tricked Esports this weekend, then all of a sudden the Ducks are looking at a really solid standing to end up in a scenario where they could move out of the Crucible. So they still have some hope there.
Well, maybe the Playing Ducks will change their mind tomorrow if they get the victory on Trick Esports. But for now, with it all said and done on this Friday, the standings have been updated. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. As we had our matches break out, Expert gets a victory. They are number 3 with a 7-6. Trick Esports taking a loss to them, falls to number 4 with a 6-6, and the Zealots 5-7 now.
And on the 7th spot, we now have Team 8 who made it into the European standings. Unfortunately, though, in this setup, they only make it on the 8th place. The only team that is worse in Europe than Team 8 is therefore the good guys. So thank you very much for giving us already that global ranking to our production.
All set up here.
I love you too, Josh.
Tomorrow, matches are coming your way, so make sure to tune in as we'll be having the big matches coming in. He fixed it really quickly just to show everybody that we're good to go.
He can't give me layups like that. I mean, seriously. Josh already... You know what that was? That was Josh's prediction for BlizzCon.
That's what it was. The standings all the way down the top 8 there.
Somehow 7 teams from Europe made it over to the big event at the end of the year. I don't know how that happened. Maybe there's a couple of rule changes that we don't know about.
Maybe it'll all change up in the next couple of weeks.
Be.
Let's look at the schedule for tomorrow. What are you going to watch on this Saturday? Here it is. The Playing Ducks and Trick Esports starting the day out. Afterwards, Team Good Guys and Team Liquid facing off.
Yeah, and this is another one. So again, first of all, the Ducks need to try and win against Trick. If that happens, that would already be huge. That would be really huge, especially since then later on in the day, the Good Guys, for example, basically at this point, the Ducks just have to buy the Good Guys a crate of beer every single time they win a series. If the Good Guys take out Team Liquid and they also take down the Zealots on the last play day, then the Ducks would already be in a fantastic position. So at this point, you just need to make good friends with TGG. And I could see that happen.
TGG, yeah, they can get the wins there. They're another team that they have days where they just look great. Let's go ahead and look at the top 3 cheers here for our teams in Europe. And still, Fnatic, Dingtoss, and Team Liquid are in the lead. Fnatic has cleared 3.7 million, Dingtoss at 2.4, and Team Liquid with 1.3.
Yep, pretty solid there. And of course, still up at the top, Gladman. Wait, number 2, that was Doki before, right? Doki was on 2, now he's on 3.
Looks like some adjustments are happening.
Isn't that true? Not quite sure. And Sigmo still holding 4th spot here. Dragard on 5, but yeah, getting in there.
Clayman gonna hit that 1 million, man. 31,000 away. Definitely can land it. So the cheers continue to roll on in, and we continue to thank you for them. Thank you so much. Now that's gonna be it here on this Friday here in Europe. North America will be up next. Enjoy.